you can really see the foundation of where you are in life. You know, once you start to realize, it's all about my attitude. It's all about what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, how people are taking that information in. If they're taking it in with stride, that's cool. If they're taking it in and like trying to manipulate it or twist it around, then you know you can't work with that person. Okay? And sometimes it could be difficult to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to leave this situation or this friend or this person behind because, you know, they say certain things that piss me off. Well, would you rather stay around? Like, what weighs the weight of both? You know, which one is worse? Being around this person who's annoying or not being around this person who's annoying? Like, I really don't, I couldn't answer that for you. I'm just saying we have to choose what we're going to put our time into wisely. And I think that that's part of turning a new leaf, you know, flipping the table over, chiseling all the gum off, you know, revealing what's really real. Okay, and when I mean chiseling the gum off, I'm saying like, you know, really scraping all of the things that you've accumulated over time when it comes to grime. You know, like I would say you were hanging out with someone and something bad happened to them and they're already irritated, and so when they're around you and you're feeling good and stuff, they just snap at you. That person is probably going to be like somebody you're going to distance yourself from, right? And for the most part, I feel like most people would. So it's like you can't be deciding to allow that kind of thing into your life, because then it's gonna make that person think that they can always treat you that way. You know what I mean? That they could always take all of their problems out on you and just that's gonna be okay. And so it's kind of like that. It goes back around to teaching people how to treat you. All right, with the turning a leaf, you got to turn that around on other people as well. Okay, if you're going to be a better person, you cannot have the same kind of energy around you and allow it to affect you in any kind of way. If people want to act how they want to act, that's totally fine. But you would have to dismiss yourself in some kind of way to fully turn over this new leaf, you know? This sometimes turning a new leaf, it's just boring and annoying and it just, but is that my attitude? Is that my real attitude? No. I took, when I decided to turn a new leaf, I was like, I'm tired of being miserable. I'm tired of being, you know, well, basically, I'm tired of being a miserable B-word. Okay? Confirmation. And, so I was just like, you know, it's actually time to take a step back and realize, why am I behaving this way? Oh, it's because so-and-so is doing this. Oh, okay, and this stems back from something from a long time ago. Mainly from when you're a damn kid. You start to realize, oh, okay, my mom or my dad or somebody I knew in my family said or did this or that, and it really bothered me. And then so when you realize it's actually some underlying reason, once you see that reason, you can just kind of dissolve the problem from there. Because when you start to realize that the past and now has nothing to do with each other anymore, or at least they shouldn't. I mean, they just simply are one path to another, but they simply are that, the past and now. And so hopefully the past and now is not so similar you know, that whatever happened all the way back then is something that would occur now. That's part of turning a new leaf, is just to make these improvements, to make these changes, no matter how difficult they may be. Just accepting the task of, now I have to do this. But that's all about the attitude. The attitude that I would say works for me is that if I get through this stupid fucking shit, I could finally be happy. That's basically what I was like. The sooner I get over it, the sooner I can be happy again. Because I realized, I was like, I used to be happy all the time. What the hell happened? You know, you're not born miserable. Okay? You're not a little kid and just like completely fucking miserable, hopefully. Okay? Even all the bad shit that I went through, I was still able to have little moments of being a little kid. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, you gotta accept the good and the bad, because without any bad times, there would just not be anything good. You know, it'd just be like, oh, okay. Thank you. And like, so when you think about it like that, it's almost like the past and now, they sort of do have something to do with each other based on how you handle things, okay? So once you realize that the past really is fucking up your future, you can just cut that off. You know, cut off the past and be like, you know what, I'm an adult now. You know, I don't have to stay in this type of mental space that my parents or family or brothers and sisters placed me in. You can break out of it. You don't have to live any specific place. Even if you know, mentally. You don't have to live any specific place mentally if someone decides to put you there. You don't have to stay anywhere. Even if you were put in a specific position or a specific mental position, I want to say, a lot of people are going through, you know, thinking really bad things about themselves, okay? So let's start there. So to start turning that new leaf, you would have to completely change how you feel about yourself to start with. Because how you feel about yourself has a lot to do with how you treat other people. Okay, and if you don't feel good about yourself, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to go out into the world and be like, hey friend, I mean, if you can, it might be a little fake, you know? It might be a little rough on the mind, you know, just having to fake the funk all the damn time. And a person like me really can't pretend. I'm very blunt, kind of to a fault, and it could be a little hurtful, I guess, for some people, but for me, I'd rather just somebody tell me how it is, rather than having to guess and having to go and figure it out myself. You know, it's a lot better when somebody just kind of like lays it down right, you know, and so when somebody does something like that, you allow that kind of respect in return, you know, the tit for tat, right? And so when you're equally giving and taking with somebody, I feel like that does make you feel good as a person, because it's like somebody who's able to give you some kind of joy, you're allowed to give them something back in return. Thank you. And I feel like that's more helpful than, you know, trying to cause some kind of weird mystery that is just going to leave people in a space of, like, I want to say lucidity. Like, it's just like water, you know, or like a stasis. There we go. Not lucidity. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to say. Just basically like you're in a stasis, and it's like keeping someone in stasis doesn't, that could be a tactic, but I would say that that's less likely to work than actually trying to forge a good relationship with someone. And I would say that that's something you would do more when you actually like yourself. If you don't like yourself, you're going to want to stay in some kind of low vibrating, hateful energy with whoever you're with. So you're going to only be able to keep them around you if they are also feel really bad about themselves, or, you know, and it's like those people are never the people that you really want to be around or be friends with. Thank you. Willingly, at least. You know, sometimes we could choose to be with people that are just, or like be around people even, or work for people, or I don't know, just anything with other individuals that really doesn't suit us, you know, and it happens all the time. We find ourselves making friends with somebody, oh, because they look cool, or, oh, because, you know, they said this or that, and it's like, well, at the end of the day, when you find out, you know, that they, like, do something awful that you don't like, you know, at what point did you start realizing that? Couldn't you pick up on their vibe? Were you actually, like, dismissing things that you saw? Because you could love yourself all you want and still attract bad people, because there are bad people in the world, you know, and they are attracted to good people. So it's like, you know, turning that new leaf isn't always easy, because then you become a target as well. But if you were on the other side, you kind of know better. You kind of see people for who they are right when they head your way. You're like, all right, this guy's a con artist. All right, this person's a scammer. All right, this person's just toxic. Oh, this person's just fucking crazy. Like, because you've been all of those you've dealt with those types of people in the past. And so it's like, turning a new leaf isn't always simple. Okay, there is a process. You know, it's like, yay, I'm suddenly a good person. Everything good is going to happen for me. No. It's being a good person means that you can handle the things that happen around you better. Okay? It's not that suddenly everything is better. You know, it's easier. Yeah, because you're not fighting with a bunch of people all the time anymore. Alright? It is much easier because of that. But in a sense, it also gets harder because now people see you as a target. So it's like, you gotta be okay with that. You gotta be okay with people hating on your happiness, because it will happen. People, they don't know how to be happy because they don't know who they are, okay? And not knowing who you are, that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with figuring out who you are. Maybe you don't know who you are because you are on the wrong side of the leaf. You know, like I said, when you flip a table, you grab it from the bottom. You flip it over and expose that bottom, you know, and there's like gum, and you gotta clean it all off. So it's kind of like, you know, the bad things about yourself and about other people, and you kind of go into the world just really understanding that it's not that me, that I'm this way or I'm that way, and now my life is going to be perfect. No, it's that you are vibrating on a better level, and so it is attracting better things, but life is still life. You know, you're still going to get those jerks. You're still going to get people, like, talking crap to you. You're still going to get people, like, saying, like, oh, they didn't change. No. Okay, and you might just get people literally just hating, period. Because they don't, like I said, they don't know who they are, and they might hate on you for knowing who you are. And if that's the case, it's kind of more, it's like, when you do know who you are, you kind of know who other people are too. And other people are really just unhealed. You know, it's kind of like, you aren't really yourself. It's kind of like the gum. You're more gum than table, okay? Some of those people, you know, they really allow other people's words to affect them so deeply that it allows their entire lives to be shaped by it, okay? By the situations and the things that are happening to them. And it's like, you are not the situations that happen to you, okay? You are not those do not correlate. Once you realize that, you take off a lot of stress, and I would say a lot of that is cleaned out, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually. Like, you just start to realize, like, wow, I was so, like, cluttered by other people's thoughts of me that I didn't know who the hell I was. Because, you know, my mom had said this, my dad had said that, my, you know, Nina, whatever, like, all these different people had told you things about yourself that you had held on to. But the truth is the self is always changing. And maybe you were like that then, but it doesn't mean you have to continue to hold that energy. And a lot of people will. They will expect you to hold the same energy for the rest of your life. But it's like, you can always decide to be somebody that you want to be. The person that you want to be, that who, basically who you really are. I'm not saying like you're going to go and collect somebody else's personality and make it your own. No. There's a deep down, like, inside, there is a real us. And it's just hidden under all of the crap that we're told, all of the shit that we keep, all of the coats that we wear, you know, when it comes to protecting and shielding ourselves, like. And it's just like, okay, well, once you become more aware of who you are, you don't need a shield. Your mind is too strong to penetrate. Your heart is too strong to penetrate. Basically, like, if you want and allow people to come in, that's all on you. You know, there's a level of that control of one's own life. You know, and I would say that's probably, like, the nicest thing to have when it comes to a lot of things, you know, and it's like, do I really want control over myself and my own thoughts and my own mind so that other people can't come in and tell me who the fuck I am and control my future? Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good on people coming in and allowing that type of shit. So it's like, it's you who takes the initiative. It's you who takes the steps in order to build the life that you want for yourself. And it's not easy, but it's like, it's you deciding for yourself, well, do I want to be happy? Do I want to enjoy life? Do I want to continually live my life in a very weird way where it's like I'm basically being forced? People really will force their opinions of you onto yourself so that they guide you in the wrong directions. You know, maybe somebody out there wanted to be a doctor or something, and they're like, oh no, like, you should be like, I don't know, like a porn star or something instead. And it's like, you know, you could have saved many, many lives, but instead, you know, you're doing some other thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you really can't be steered. If you want to do those things, that's totally fine. I don't judge you if you want to do those things. But if you don't want to do those things and you originally come from a very good place and you were peer pressured into specific things that you never wanted to do, you are in control. That's part of turning a new leaf. Part of turning a new leaf is not giving away your power to other people and letting them control what you're going to do in life. Now, if you want to do those specific things, that's great. But if there's, you know, any hint of force, you know, oh, I never wanted to do this, I just ended up doing it because I didn't know what else to do. Or everybody else in my family does it, so I just, you know, like, I have to do it. Why can't you do that? And another thing, why do you have to solely, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why you can't also pursue something you want in life, okay? So it's like, maybe you got a lot of things going for you, but you're not really fulfilled, you know, because you're not going after what you want. I trust me, I've had that problem. And it happens, you know, when you really look at everything that you do it for, you know, either for monetary gain, for some kind of status climb, or whatever it is that you are after. So that's what I'm saying is, like, doing that, locking yourself in permanently, you don't need to do that. It's like, I know plenty of people that have, like, a really stressful job, and they go and do extracurricular activities, you know, like, so it's like, at the same time, you can always make more room for other things, and just do less of what other people want you to do. And it's like a balance, you know? And I do feel like that's actually not the worst, you know, just having balance, having, doing things that you want to do, while continuing to do the things that put a roof over your head and food in your belly and whatnot. And it's like, you know, turning a new leaf isn't just, oh, I'm gonna go from being a bad person to a good person. It's just really flipping things upside down on their head or on their back to kind of see what you haven't seen before. You know, it's like, well, if I would have treated specific people a specific way, maybe things would have ended better, or maybe things will be better, you know, depending on how your abilities, your level of life and understanding, you know, and the other people too. You know, it's not just a one-sided type of thing. Oh, I've changed, come with me. You know, it's not so easy like that. It takes two. You know, it takes two people to really agree that they're going to work on something. You know, and that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I want to come and I want to fix certain things. It's like, you can't really fix people who don't want that, who don't want to be fixed. And it's like, it's not even just that when it comes to turning a new leaf. Like, what if you're spending all your money on a specific thing, okay? Like a specific drug, alright? Maybe you can think about it like that. You take this specific drug, you flip it on its back, and you're like, well, it's not healthy. It's starting to become an addiction. It's starting to get very pricey. You know, like, you gotta really look at things at what they really are. Like, okay, and it doesn't make me happy anymore. It's just become a necessity. That's when you need to start to pull away. Okay, when it comes to relationship, it's the same thing. You know, you're freebasing love like crack, alright? And you're like, alright, but this person's getting crazy now. That's when it's time to pull away. You know, it's like knowing when to kind of back out of a specific situation that just ain't working no more. You know, and it's like, it's cool to experiment, it's cool to enjoy yourself, it's cool to have fun, but at a specific point, you gotta know when to kind of walk away. And I would say walk away when it no longer makes you happy. And I know that sounds really bad, but I can get a little bit into it to kind of make more sense on a high vibrational way, because it's like, okay, say you're cool with a specific friend, alright? But lately this specific friend started dating a really bad, shitty guy. And all they do, okay, is complain about this guy. And it's been like years now, alright? And then so you're like, well, it's, you know, I like stuck around for like a year or two listening to this, and nothing's improved. Why are you still with this guy? It'd have to get to a point where, you know, you're gonna have to tell that friend, hey, We can hang out, like, I like you, we're friends and all, but you can't be talking about this guy. There's boundaries that you can set for yourself that can help you turn a new leaf when it comes to stuff like that, because it's like, it's not your problem. You shouldn't have to sit around and listen to somebody else's problems constantly. It's good to be a friend, but once it starts getting to the point where it's just, you don't even have a friendship with this person anymore, you're literally just their therapist, that's not gonna work. I mean, maybe in high school, you know, and I would say it's because it's not productive. It's not a situation that is progressing. So the stagnant, stuck, repetitive cycle energy is something that could affect you as well. It could affect work, it could affect school, it could affect just your thought process. You know, if the same thing is reoccurring over and over and over and over, and it's the same negative cycle that's constantly being ran in front of you, it's kind of like watching a hamster running a hamster wheel with spikes on the inside. You know, it's just like, oh no, it's just like, don't keep running that cycle. You know, you're cutting yourself up. And it's kind of like, it's harmful to everyone around as well. So that's what I'm saying, is like, that kind of energy, if it's not serving you, it's not good for you, it's probably okay to let go. After a specific amount of time, after you've expressed yourself, like, hey, you know, this is something I'm not accepting anymore. If somebody's like, oh, you're selfish, you're mean, they don't understand, because they're into the toxic cycle. It's harder to see something when you're in it than when you're out of it. And that's because people get really involved in whatever it is that they're doing, instead of having a sense of self when getting involved. And to do those things, you know, to turn a new leaf when it comes to being that type of person, you have to go into situations having a sense of self. That sense of self is really important, because if you don't have that, you don't have any kind of grounding. And when you're not grounded, your emotions can be all over the place. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta be like perfectly in tune and never angry or anything. You're allowed to feel however the fuck you want to feel. But when you're not in that good position, you're more likely to do things that will cause problems for you. For instance, jail time. Okay, some people get very emotional and they can't control their emotions, and they end up in jail because they go crazy. And it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk away from this psycho, because I don't feel like matching their energy. You know, a lot of people will get into fights and then they will find themselves in big problems. And it's like, but that's what the enemy wanted. The enemy wanted to fight you, so you go to jail. You know? It's like, why don't you see that? Why don't you see that they're drudging up drama to put you behind bars? They want some kind of control over you, so that when you're on probation, when you have to talk to your parole officer or whatever, they're going to be able to, you know, what's his number? Can I call? You know, they're going to be threatening to call your PO, to call your you know what I mean? It's all about control. And women have to deal with it too. You know, they have to deal with men trying to get them pregnant, men trying to, you know, control their lives and shit. Because it's more of needing to control something. If you need to control something, try to control yourself. Try to control your own feelings, your own emotions. Like I said, that turning that new leaf is just more having that self and knowing thyself, basically. Just knowing that, okay, I personally don't like drama and fighting. I don't know a person who was born likes problems and fighting, and unless it's like a, spawn of the devil. But most people don't enjoy that, like over time they have specific people that they enjoy fighting with, and it's usually their underlying like hatred from stuff that happened in the past. And it's like, well, if you focus all your time and energy on that hateful aspect in your life, the rest of your life suffers, okay? And that goes for creativity, love, happiness, joy, increasing finances. Unless you're like a boxer, or you're like, what is that one guy who's always in the boxing ring? Jake Paul. Unless you're like Jake Paul or a fucking boxer, talking shit and fighting ain't gonna make you money, okay? Talking shit and arguing with people isn't gonna be financially viable for you. Like I would say, if I was like a secret agent and I was trying to woo someone, I'm not gonna go in acting like a jerk. I'm gonna go in whining and dining, fascinating and impressing. I'm gonna be the dapper person that's gonna be, and that's part of knowing yourself. If you don't know that you're a jerk and you ruin things by sabotaging them for yourself, you're never gonna be able to see that, oh, I need to go in and I need to act a specific way. You're just gonna act out of ego and not get what you want. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you needed to play a part, you would have to act a specific way in order to get what you want. And that's just how life is. And instead of having to act a specific way, it's so much easier to just be a specific way so that it's very genuine. That there's genuine kindness and genuine, dapperness in my energy. Because if I'm going to start pretending to be somebody I'm not, it's definitely not going to cultivate that energy. If I'm going to sit here and pretend to be a supermodel when I weigh 300 pounds, which I don't, if I did, and I was like sitting here and being like, yeah, I work for Victoria's Secret, but my belly is out to here, I know you're not going to believe that. And it's not going to suddenly change my reality, just me saying that I am. There are qualities within a specific individual that has a specific, there's energies that a specific person usually should have. Most models should have a high confidence. I'm not saying they all do. I'm not saying they all, not a lot of them, that a lot of them don't go to the bathroom, after a meal. I'm just saying that they probably have more they might actually have less. I'm going to be honest with you. Really attractive people have less confidence than non-attractive people, because like say a mediocre person will have more physical attractiveness than say somebody that's like just not attractive. Okay, that person will have more confidence than the person who is just not attractive at all, like mentally, physically, spiritually. And so say the unattractive person starts to pretend to be like the attractive person. There are attributes that the attractive person has. They feel good about themselves, so they work out. Okay, and so that unattractive person probably doesn't. So they would have to do those things in order to look a specific way, to take care of themselves in a specific way, to kind of copy another person. Like I said, there are attributes. Now, that really heavy person can go get surgeries, but like I said, everything from a genuine place, even natural beauty, is more, it's just easier, it's easier to deal with. Like not having to wake up and spending 3 hours a day to look a specific way, to fool everyone into believing that I look like I have lots of makeup on all the time. I just don't do it. I skip it. I'm not saying that, oh, you should never wear makeup. No, I'm just saying that, yeah, I cosplay all the time, so I have I have my own makeup skills. But, there's specific things that specific people need to do in order to shine the same way. Because say that the woman A, okay, let's just say woman A, the 300-pound woman that wants to be like the attractive woman in the Vogue. Okay, the attractive woman in the Vogue doesn't just feel good about herself because she's thin. She might. It might be really shallow stuff, okay? But there is usually a specific thing that, like, exercising does to someone. It releases endorphins. It releases, lots of different chemicals to help balance you out, okay? And so the woman that got all the surgery to be thin isn't going to experience the same exact thing as the person who is just naturally healthy and didn't need surgery to lose all the weight, because she's, running on the treadmill, releasing all those endorphins, because this is a genuine practice. This is something that is obtained over time. It is not something that is there's no easy way out when it comes to most things that we truly should do for ourselves, And I hope that's a good enough example. It sounds good enough to me. But, it's kind of just like taking the easy way, the easy route isn't going to get you the same results as, say, the person who, worked several years to get to where they are. So it's like it's also unfair to try to compare yourself to another person. It's very unfair to compare yourself to somebody who's been working for many, many years to be where they are. You didn't see all the hard work they went through. You didn't see all the things that, specific people had to do to get where they are. So you can't judge people based on where they are and what they look like. Like they said, never judge a book by a cover. So it's like judging somebody's success based on what they look like. There's a lot more to it. There's the mental capacity. Like some people could just look great, okay? But they don't have, I don't know, like a specific drive or a specific energy behind what it is that they have, because they lack some kind of confidence, or they lack some kind of, awareness of themselves. There's a lot of people out here that are unbelievably amazing, and they just don't fucking see it, because we've been told, back to the gum, all these horrible things about ourselves. And like I said, flip the table over, scrape the gum off, and see how nice and clean it is, okay? Because you weren't born miserable. You weren't born hateful. Those are all the things that we learned over time that made us who we are now. And like I said, if you don't like who you are now, just, like I said, it's just time to do things a little bit differently. Maybe just don't even think those negative things about yourself to start with, okay? So-and-so said this, okay? It's hurtful, alright? Whatever. Like, me personally, I don't give a fuck. Say whatever the fuck you want. Like, you're just talking, scream it into my ass. I don't give a fuck. But, some people really care, allow yourself to feel however you feel. It is perfectly fine to have feelings. But the moment you hold on to it, that's when you just let go. Well, if it creeps back up in your mind, dismiss it. Okay, do other things. Don't focus on the same crap, because that's the trap. The trap is the enemy wants you to be miserable. So what do? Find ways to be happier, to piss them off more. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to keep pushing, no matter what somebody else feels, no matter what somebody else says, no matter what somebody else tries to do to you. It's all them. You know, once you get to a specific point in life too, you're going to be able to look at people and be like, oh yeah, you know what? I used to be a dick too. Like, I just see this energy of like somebody like, you know, I used to be a piece of shit just like you. You know what I mean? Like, just really empathizing with another person because you can see where they are in life. And it's a painful position to not realize how happy your life could be if you just behaved a specific way. And it's very difficult because it's almost like you think that your route is the right one until you start actually looking. I wonder, like, why I'm so fucking miserable. Like, what are all these other happy people doing? They're not focusing on other people, okay? They don't focus their time and attention into another person, for one. They don't compare themselves to another person, for two. They don't allow the things that other people say about them to affect them, three. Four, if they do care, you know, they let it go. They let things go. They're able to walk away from specific emotions that don't matter. Because what is you caring about what somebody said? How is that going to help you? It's not. It's not going to help you to stress the hell out. To freak out over specific things that really don't have anything to do with you. Okay? And I feel like that's a lot of what it is. It's projection. A lot of people will project their feelings about themselves onto another person to kind of put this person in a bad space. You know, and it's like, it's because they are not on track, or they don't have a specific life goal, or they don't know who they are, or, you know, and who we are is always changing and evolving, hopefully. That's why I just said, like, hopefully we're not the same that we used to be exactly from who we were like 10 years ago. Hopefully some of us have, you know, learned how to evolve past how people want us to feel, you know. And I feel like a lot of that is also self-induced. A lot of us put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be a specific way, and like I said, that's because you're comparing yourself to another person and where they are and where you are, and doing that is automatic fail, because the moment you start putting yourself in competition with people who are doing better than you, that's where you go wrong, because you specifically put your energy towards another person now that they're doing better. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. You need to put your energy into you, right? Put your time into yourself. And I really feel like that's how a lot of you are going to be more successful. If you're doing a lot of things when it comes to other people, it's like, you know, whether it's you're thinking about another person a lot, you're on somebody's social media a lot, you're giving your energy to that person. Okay, so just really be careful with what you're putting your time and energy into. And not everybody deserves your time. Like, that's kind of what this is about too, is like respecting yourself by not giving all of your time and attention to other people, and allowing other people to tell you who you are as a person, especially when they don't even know who the fuck they are. It's like, you don't know who you are, but you're trying to tell everybody else who they are? That doesn't make any sense. I'm waiting for this. But yeah, there's a lot of people who will tell you specific things about yourself that you don't even know. If you didn't know, if you don't know specific things about yourself, it's kind of like maybe it's time to stop giving everybody else, you know, your time and attention, and kind of like look back on yourself, in the sense that we all have our own purpose. We all have our own goals. We're not the same. So turning a new leaf for everybody is very different. It really depends on what you want to do in life, but I would say that turning the new leaf usually means going from one specific negative position to a more positive position. So I would just say to really kick that off is to just kind of peel away all of the layers of yourself that don't belong to you. All the layers that people have put you in, all of the things that people have been, you know, putting towards you. And I would say it's not that it's not always that easy. It does take time. I would say that just try not to take things so personally. You have to realize that a lot of people are hurt. A lot of people are in pain. A lot of people don't have, you know, half of what you have. And that's probably why they see you as a threat and want to say stupid things to knock you off your path, or do stupid things to make you feel bad, or, you know, throw obstacles in your way to make you feel hopeless. And it's just, the more that people do that, the more you can realize you are a force to be reckoning with. Because if literal groups of people come and try to destroy you and can't take you down, it says a lot about you and hell of a lot about them, that even an entire group couldn't destroy one damn person. I feel like at the end of the day, they will start to turn a new leaf, because they're gonna realize they're weaker than one person. An entire group of people. You know, that's why I say like bullies, they don't hang out by themselves. They hang out in groups because they can't do anything on their own. And so it's like, if you're one of those people and you want to turn a new leaf, I would say good luck. It's a difficult road for anybody wanting to change. But I would say there is like karma for the things that you do in the past. There is a thing called dharma, where it's like good karma and bad karma. And I would say that dharma, having good karma isn't going to make your life perfect. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. A lot of it's attitude. So if you act happy and you appreciate everything, things will go a lot easier. But if you act miserable and you take all your problems out on other people, you're not going to get shit. You're just not going to get anywhere. And I feel like that's kind of why people have to work in groups. And even when you work in a group, it'll fail. Because everybody's thinking in such a low vibrational way, it's bound to fail. I think that's why the bad guy always loses. Because there's a universal type of energy where it's like, you get what you give, you know? And if you gave a lot of bad shit, expect a lot of bad shit. If you gave a lot of good shit, I wouldn't say expect a lot of good shit, but I feel like you know that good things are going to come your way, because you're not specifically putting out negative energy. And that's what's so high vibrational. You know, it gets difficult though to always be happy, and I'm not saying you always have to be happy. It's just keeping a state of mind that is very clear, and understanding that just because another person feels a specific way about you does not mean that it matters at all. It does not mean that you should take any type of action or any type of offense. That's what being a grown-up is allowing, you know, somebody to say, hey man, fuck you, and just being like, okay. Like, alright, like, I don't care. Like, I don't, like, I didn't do anything to you. You know, but to take offense to just small things is always going to cause you to have issues. So turning that new leaf is just really knowing who you are and that you're not going to match other people's energy when it's thrown your way. You know, if you're like a super fighty person, you know, I would say that's going to make things difficult, because giving people your physical energy will usually, if it's not in the bedroom, it'll usually end up very bad, okay? I mean good things in the bedroom, okay? Like taking out your frustration during sex or whatever. But most people, you know, don't see outlets like that. That's why I suggest working out. Working out is probably the best way to start controlling yourself, because you can control your breathing and your mind while you're exercising, and that usually brings in a lot of alignment, because you're getting your blood flowing, you're getting your blood pumping, you're getting those adrenaline, you know, that endorphins, all those great things that a lot of us are lacking. You know, being a child, we're constantly at play, constantly doing crazy things. So I would say that's probably why we had less stress and less anger. You know, I'm not speaking for everyone, but, you know, if you were one of those kids who was like me, a little Spider-Man child, you were climbing everywhere and doing acrobatics and scaring your parents by suddenly being on the roof and, you know, just weird stuff. If you were one of those people, you know, one of those kids constantly climbing, running around, not doing that now is a big part of why you're so frustrated and having a hard time in life, because your physical body is not used to sitting around and doing nothing. You should do nothing sometimes. I'm not saying rest is bad. Okay, it's really good for you. I'm just saying doing absolutely nothing all the time is really, it's a huge stressor on yourself. So yeah, you could go get plastic surgery and make yourself look a certain way, but you better go to the gym and continue to work on it, because it's not just looking a specific way, it's about feeling a specific way inside of your body chemically. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me. It was great having you. I hope you have a great day or a great night. Bye. Peace.